Hey, welcome back to the show. Today we talk about the easiest way to discover Windows PCs. And before I show you the easiest way, I want to set the stage first. So why is that a problem for many people? Let's just assume you are convinced you must maintain a complete and comprehensive OT asset inventory. Then basically most people think they only have two choices. Either they collect the asset inventory data manually, type everything into an Excel spreadsheet, or they use an OT threat detection product. Now, for those who actually did go down road number two, I would say that the vast majority of these users are unhappy with the results that they got when it comes to OT asset inventory, because the identification capabilities of threat detection products that rely on passive sniffing are slim. They're usually completely unsatisfactory because you can only infer so much from the live data traffic that you catch on the wire. And so therefore, when it comes to inventorying systems, your threat detection products don't do the trick because they just don't yield as comprehensive and reliable data as you would like to see. And there is one area that is where this lack of detail totally comes to the surface. So you cannot miss. No, there is something missing here, and that is when it comes to Windows PCs. And also the irony is the Windows boxes are those systems that are most difficult to inventory manually. So when you think, well, let's just send the intern around from PC to PC and collect make and model, IP address, usually maybe the OS version, and then that's about it. But the reality is that this meager data set is not enough for any meaningful analysis, no matter if you think about vulnerability management or if you think about obsolescence management, business continuity planning, etc. So a different solution is needed, and this is what we offer. So basically, as you may already know, in OT-base, we only do active discovery. We don't do anything passive because we're interested in mainly building up an OT asset inventory, and there is no way around active if you want to do that. And obviously, we are aware that many people are so scared to actually probe their OT networks with an active product, which is ironic, if you will, because then if that is your primary concern, then you basically don't need to waste any time on threat intelligence, risk analysis, etc., because you have that blatant risk on the table. If you think, no, our networks are so fragile that they will just fail. Our whole production will face an outage when we would use a product that actively discovers our stuff. And today I'm going to show you an alternative solution, particularly aimed at Windows boxes, and which is important, and because again, the Windows box is something you will never be able to manually record. For actuators, as an example, this is probably possible if you only have a dozen actuators. Then you can just go from, let's just say, from VFD to VFD, or you got the PowerFlex 755 and firmware version is 12.6, and you're done with that device. Now with Windows PCs, that doesn't work because there is no way that you would record all the installed software, as an example. And you need that information, including the security patches that you have installed, because otherwise no vulnerability management is possible. And so I'm going to show you the easiest way how to collect all that information that you absolutely need in order to do your vulnerability management and other use cases. And why is that so super important? So let me focus on the OT security angle here. What is the biggest risk presently? Simple answer: ransomware. And where does ransomware live? Not on your actuators, not on your sensors, not on your switches. It lives on Windows PCs. So therefore, if you would even use a threat-oriented approach, it would suggest, well, if there is one group of systems that you absolutely should prioritize, it's the Windows boxes. As simple as that. So therefore, a detailed account of which software you have installed and other parameters, which I'll go into in a minute, is absolutely vital. And the OT threat detection products don't yield that level of granularity. They might just tell you at that IP address, I think that's a Windows box. End of story. And the confidence is, I don't know, low or medium. End of story. They might also tell you, well, it's there is a CVE, we call it, what was it, CVE legacy or something, because that box seems to be running an outdated operating system version, so there are no longer patches available. Well, guys, that doesn't do the trick, because you want to absolutely know exactly which vulnerabilities affect this system. And this is the data that you can easily get, and that is what I'm showing you right now. So when you look at OT-Base, we did already collect all that data about software configuration, etc., in the past using WinRM. So that's remote discovery via the network. And predictably, that has resulted in some practical issues, because in several scenarios, users told us, oh, sorry, but we can't open that WinRM connection, so for remote maintenance, for security reasons, or because the box is maintained by a third party and they don't want to share the credentials, right? So practical arguments that are very difficult to counter. And for that reason, we have introduced another means of doing that, which is simply an agent. And before you freak out, like, oh, no, we don't want to install agents on the boxes because then we lose the warranty. I said, bear with me, guys, bear with me, because I will also show you a solution for that problem later. We're processing this step by step. So don't get freaked out by the term agent. First, I'm going to show you the agent, and then I'm going to explain the solution for those situations where you probably don't want to install an agent. Now, the agent for Windows Discovery exists in OT-Base for quite a while. But we just recently added some new functionality, which simply is a user interface that shows you right away at the local box all the configuration details. And let me give you an idea what that looks like. So once that the agent is running, now you also get this user interface that you simply call like any Windows application. And as you can see, that application shows you a wealth of configuration details. It shows you exactly all the data you will ever need for that box for OT security use cases and for other use cases such as obsolescence management. And let me just talk you through what you see here on the screen step by step. So in the upper left corner, first of all, you see the system name, probably also the IP address that is used for the connection. In this case, I'm running this locally. Therefore, you will see localhost, which already gives you an idea. Well, actually, you can also call that UI remotely without using RDP or WinRM or whatnot, right? So there is a built-in remote connectivity capability in that UI and in the agent. So then you see the exact operating system version. In our case, it's Windows 10 Home. And wow, now it's starting to get really interesting. I see right away when the last security patch was installed, which was as recent as today. That is what you would most likely want to see. I know, I know what's coming in, but you can't patch regularly or daily in OT. I know. So then you would see probably 167 or something. The point is, my friends, this data is collected. So you will see it right away. It doesn't imply that it's good or bad or non-compliant. That is up to you to interpret depending on the policies that you have in place. But you get this data item right away in your face. And now, just as a thought experiment, consider how much time it would take your intern that I mentioned in the intro to figure out the last time when this particular PC was patched. Right, and he or she is supposed to do that for your 97 Windows boxes that you have in that particular building. So this is exposed right away. Then we come to the device details, the name of the box, the location that you can edit, the type and vendor and model. And then here to the right, we have a software list. So here you see all the installed software with the product name, the vendor, the type, the category, the specific version. And now also, this is again very interesting, a timestamp when that application was last executed. Well, why is that important? Because I would see right away if I scroll down the list, like this guy right here, this Bonjour by Apple. I didn't even know that this horse shit is installed on my PC, and guess what? It was executed automatically just 2 days ago. So my point is that gives you a lot of intelligence on the actual software configuration of that PC that you can put to good use for your OT security strategies, for example, when you consider system hardening. Okay, and then as you see here, also all the patches are listed and you can search here in that box. So for example, if you want to check if a particular patch is installed or not, you could do that right away, or you can search for anything. Let's just say I'm searching for a vendor. In this case, I'm using Langner. I would see right away which Langner applications do I have installed, and there they are. So this gives you an idea of the power of an automatic discovery that in this case is done by the agent. But it doesn't stop there, as you can already see. So then let's move to the next widget. Here in this widget, you see the hard disk storage situation. I see that my hard disk is about 50% of the space is consumed. And I also see the health status of this hard disk, which tells me it's healthy. That's good, because one thing that you certainly would not want to see is, well, it's unstable or it's in critical condition, which is provided by the operating system. So this is not some magic that we would introduce here. These are data points that you can inquire from Windows, which we do, and we expose those right away. And that also means if you see the big picture here, so if you would connect that, if you would load that data that you see here locally into your OT-based inventory, you can do analytics on those data points, like show me all the Windows boxes with hard disk problems, or where the storage is above a certain threshold. You can set automatic triggers that will trigger a notification. So just to give you an idea of the integration that's possible and what you can do with this data. Then we have provenance, so that is not relevant at this point. That is then just to to give you an account of when you did the last export and how recent this data is that you're looking at. If you want to refresh the data, well, you just click that button and then it's refreshed as you are watching. So next widget, you see the antivirus status. I see that this box has Windows Defender installed, and I also see the last update of the signatures. Again, just imagine how much time it would take your intern to figure all that data out and just type it into Excel. And certainly you will never be able to keep that data up to date because it's supposed to change frequently. Then we have the CPU utilization. That's usually in OT. It's quite an interesting data point because you want to make sure that your Windows, like your engineering stations, your SCADA servers, that they aren't experiencing CPU exhaustion or memory exhaustion, because then problems might be around the corner. So this is along the lines of preventive maintenance. And you don't just see the actual value right now. You can also pull up a history, a diagram, which shows you the how this data developed over time. Same thing for the memory usage. And certainly what you want to keep an eye on is if in the past there were spikes or maybe a plateau, because then you would want to act preventively on those facts. Okay, you also see the exact memory space that is consumed down here. And by the way, this tells you one reason why you would want to use such an agent, because the agent will collect these data points automatically in the background over time. Okay, so it's not just a one-shot picture that you get. You also see those developments, and then if you upload the whole data to OT-based inventory, then you also get those very nice diagrams, and you can do your analytics on it, and you can define your thresholds and your notifications, etc. Down here in this widget, you see any file shares. Well, how cool is that? So the reality is, in OT, every now and then somebody configures a file share that he or she needs for a certain project, and then when the project is finished, nobody bothers to actually remove the file share, which certainly creates a security risk. And for that reason, OT-based exposes any file shares that this particular machine hosts, so that somebody has the opportunity to check if they are still needed and legitimate, or if they should be removed. Okay, then we have the network situation. So this PC happens to be only connected to one specific network. You see the IP address here of that network in CIDR notation. You see the IP address of the box, that's 0.122. And then certainly we come to maybe the absolute coolest part of this whole screen, which is the data flow. And this will just pull your socks off if you haven't seen such a thing before. So this is one of the coolest features of the OT-based discovery agent. It automatically collects the data flow in the background. And data flow is super important for any security analytics, because you want to know which endpoints this box is talking to. And the most important information that you are interested in is, does it talk to the internet? Best case, it would only talk to devices on the same subnet. We are not in trouble here. And this is what this Sankey diagram shows you right away. So all the data flow that the agent collects for this machine is exposed in such a diagram, where you see the different protocols on the left, and then you see 3 categories here on the right. Those categories are local, that means traffic within the local subnet. Then we have private, that is traffic that is routed into another private subnet. And then finally, you have the public internet. And that is something that you don't want to see in an OT environment, okay? And predictably, probably we see most of the traffic is using the HTTPS protocol. So just by looking at that diagram, you would see right away, somebody is surfing the internet heavily on this particular machine. And this is what you don't want to see. You could also disable and enable any of these categories here by just clicking the items here in the top. And let me use this opportunity to point out one catastrophic failure of OT threat detection solutions. So OT threat detection solutions, contrary to what they suggest, they don't know about networks. They will tell you all about IP addresses, but they don't know about networks. So when you think about an unsuspicious address like 192.168.0.7, you don't know if that IP address is residing in that same network. Let's just say Euro 192.168.0.3. You don't know. It might be in a different network, and the traffic is routed, right? So this is something that OT threat detections that rely on passive sniffing do not know. They don't know about network architecture, and that is a gigantic problem when you consider segregation strategies, as an example. When you want to make sense out of the data flow, well, you have to know if that is within the same subnet or not. Otherwise, it's pretty much useless. So therefore, one of the biggest items that we expose is those 3 categories that tell the security-minded person, right? That's a problem. But guys, let's stop the threat analysis for a couple of weeks and focus on that internet traffic that we're seeing here. Okay, so that gives you an idea about all the data that you can collect with such an agent. Certainly it's then easy to transform into, let's just say, an Excel spreadsheet. Let me show you how that would look like. We have just recently launched a new service. Let's do this step by step. A new service that is called OT-based snapshot. So let's just assume you're not ready yet to go for a full-blown OT-based installation. Then we have an on-demand inventory service where you take all that data that an agent, like the one that I've showed you, produces, you upload it to our web server, and then in return, you get your discovery results as an Excel spreadsheet. And let me show you what that spreadsheet looks like. So it comes with multiple worksheets here, and then this first worksheet, that's all the devices with make and model, etc. Certainly here we have a whole bunch of other stuff. So this includes automation devices, it includes network switches. So forget about that because we are focusing here on Windows boxes. But just to give you an idea, when we click on the software worksheet, you have all the installed software for your various devices with exact versions with installation, like days since last execution, the timestamp when the software was last executed, and everything is tied to a specific device. So just to give an idea, this is how it would look like. And now let's get back to the question. But I am scared. I am totally scared of installing such an agent because my automation vendor has told me you will get rid of your warranty. We have all been there, we've all done that. And for that use case, we also have a solution. And the solution is a mobile version of the Discovery software that you don't need to install. That means you copy it on a USB stick, you plug the USB stick in the candidate that you want to discover, then you execute the discovery program, and you will also get a similar screen like the one that I've shown you just a couple of minutes ago. So you will see all the details right away, but certainly without data that requires continuous recording. So for example, you won't see the data flow with the mobile version because the mobile version is a one-shot execution. So it's just a moment in time. That moment in time certainly is very valuable when it comes to the software configuration, when it comes to the network information, etc. And it is obviously a much better solution than sending that intern to the machine and try to collect everything manually, which will never work. So that intern would only collect the basic information, such as which operating system version, or which Windows version is running on there, and which IP address does it have. And that is not good enough, my friends. So you will never be able to do meaningful vulnerability management, as just one example, if you don't have the full configuration data. So this is how it works today. Don't be scared about the active discovery, etc. So at least for Windows boxes, you now have this alternative. Whenever possible, you would install the agent. When the evil automation vendor tells you, no, you don't do that. You are not allowed to do that, to install your own software on the DCS that you paid a couple of $1 million for, then you can still use the mobile version because you don't install any software. You're just launching it from the USB stick. The asset information that is collected will also be stored on that USB stick automatically. And then you just upload the whole stuff to your OT-based inventory that you may have already running locally on premise, or to the cloud, where you might want to take advantage of that new service that I have mentioned, OT-based snapshot. And then you get all your results back in a nice Excel table, much better than anything you have seen before. And by the way, I will focus on OT-based snapshot on that new service and on the Excel tables in one of the upcoming shows. So you will get more information on that. So that is pretty much all I wanted to share today. And the bottom line is, if you are concerned, if you think, well, we really need to get our inventory in order, but we can't do it manually for obvious reasons, and we have seen that threat detection products don't do the trick, then there is a new solution. And I just urge you to check it out, to take a closer look, because your socks will be knocked off. I tell you, you will tell all your guys, what did we do all those years trying to collect this data manually? And focusing on the Windows boxes is actually a very smart strategy. So I'm confident that all the OT guys who listen to the show, they know about the Pareto principle. Okay, so when it comes to cyber risk, that is your 20% or maybe even 5% that takes care of 80% of the problem space. That is your Windows boxes. And all the other stuff, well, certainly also important, but focus on the Windows boxes first, because you need to develop a strategy against ransomware. So that's it for today. See you next week. Bye-bye.